Thank you, Guy. It's a pleasure to be here with you and your network to celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week. I'm thrilled to be here and to meet so many new people. Before I get started, I'd like to ask you a question. How many in this audience are entrepreneurs? Hands? Whoa, that's a lot. Okay, second question. How many of you would like to be entrepreneurs if you're not? Whoa, I see another show of hands. Okay, another question. How many of you feel that work-life balance is a key imperative? Hands? Okay. So how many of you then know that being an entrepreneur is a 24/7 affair? A full-time, round-the-clock job that consumes you with a passion for achieving your goals and fulfilling your dreams. Welcome to the world of entrepreneurs. Still interested? Okay. It wasn't our intention to be entrepreneurs when my sister Judy Lewis and I co-founded Strategic Objectives back in 1983. We didn't realize we were starting an agency that would one day be recognized as one of Canada's leading public relations firms with a blue-chip roster starring many of the world's leading brands. This was a picture of Judy and me at our party of the millennium in 1987. Just 13 years before the millennium, but we were always a little bit ahead of our times, as I hope you'll see as we take you through this presentation. Nor did we realize that one day we would employ more than 40 people and be responsible for their well-being, careers, and social satisfaction, in addition to building fame and fortune for the clients we represent. At Strategic Objectives, we like to say you cannot go through a day in the life of Canada without encountering many of the brands we represent. Preparing this speech, my very first ever on being an entrepreneur, has challenged me to some considerable soul searching to discover, distill, and share key learnings you might find useful in your quest to be or to understand successful entrepreneurs. My first key insight is that being an entrepreneur is a lot of hard work. You must love what you do with a passion that makes up for the sacrifices you will make in other aspects of your life, such as worry-free vacations, 9-to-5 work days with weekends off that you don't get to have, getting to all your kids' soccer games, plays, recitals, doctor's appointments. And that's why God invented nannies. For entrepreneurs, there is no rest for the weary because your dreams are given over to solving your latest creative challenge. Just as an aside, I am quite serious about working in my sleep. It may be just a personal quirk, but I do much of my best thinking while I'm fast asleep. And I often wake myself up with an aha moment, the solution to a creative problem. I always keep a pad and pencil by my bed and I wake up and I write notes. Does anyone else here do this? Oh, lots, right. Do you know how it works? Neither do I. I'm also often asked how and why we got into PR. And the answer is quite simple. Both Judy and I began our careers as journalists, and we're on the receiving end of copious, poorly targeted media relations. We knew there had to be a better way. I started out at McGill University, where I did a BA in political science and continued on to McGill's first ever MA program in communications. From there, I moved on to freelancing at CBC Radio and then landed my very first producer job at Radio Canada International. The youngest producer CBC had ever hired and one of the very few women at the time, my job was to produce Canada's daily transmission to North America and the Caribbean. I had a daily audience of 11 million and the responsibility of portraying Canada to the world. You might say my career in PR began right there. At CBC, progress and success means moving up the job ladder every 2 to 3 years. And my next plum assignment was producing Nightcap, a daily late-night show on the arts, capped off with a book at bedtime. A completely new concept at the time. Nightcap won the ACTRA Award for Best Radio Show, and my career was well and truly launched. From there, I moved on to CBC TV News as a self-assigning feature reporter and earned quite a reputation for unearthing scandals, ranging from mismanagement at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts to fluffy, sometimes seedy, lifestyle stories. Now, we were going to play a little video, and maybe we'll get one now.
We can play it and you can talk about what's going on.
Okay. This is about, well, what am I going to do? Anyways, this is about a scandal at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts that I detected. And I did a 5-part series on the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts, including the fact that they had fakes and it was an inside job, that they'd had this robbery and stuff like that. And I was banned from the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts for the rest of my time in Montreal. That is absolutely true. And this one is the first ever piece that was done on CBC TV about a club in Montreal called 281 St. Catherine Street East. And it was a club that featured totally naked male strippers. So, and this was on TV, at CBC TV. So the next person you're going to see is the sexologist I dragged down to the CBC. We cut out the nifty stuff, nifty parts with the naked parts and whatever. Anyways, that's... Okay. The best line in this piece that I had was, for a $5 tip, they'll take it all off right underneath your very nose. And they did. It was like hilarious. Anyways, there were 18 adverse phone calls for that piece, which was considered a huge success at CBC because nobody ever reacts to anything. Seriously. Okay, quite a variety. I moved next to CBC TV News in Toronto, where I served as entertainment critic on the 6 o'clock news, and then on to CTV Network, where I hooked up with my sister Judy Lewis, my business partner. That's Judy right over there in the middle. To produce North America's first ever reality TV show. It was called Thrill of a Lifetime. Does anyone remember it? Maybe your parents do. Anyhow, a huge hit at the time, Thrill became CTV's top-rated Canadian TV show, which was a major miracle since we had absolutely no budget and we had no advertising to propel it. The premise of the show was, tell us your dreams, we'll make them happen.